Hello, hello, beautiful people, mi gente bella. Welcome to another edition of Santana Says, where we talk about everything from Roblox, relationships, everything in between, and the overall journey of life. Because life be life, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it does. But yes. And so not only are we excited to bring you another edition of the show, but I also love when I can sit down, you know what I'm saying? A little something. So we knocking it all out, y'all. So as y'all might have heard on the previous episode, it is February. It is the month of love. It is Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? One time. So we combining, you know what I mean, and doing all of that. And I love that last year. Shout out to Alana Bell, who's open mic. I was recently at. She was on here. You know what I mean?
Period.
During Black History Month. Also Buki. But now we have, and then what's cool is in the world of art, so you know what I'm saying, poet, another, you know what I'm saying, person that also created, but does a lot of things. So that's why we're going to get into that. Okay. But could you at least tell the beautiful people just a little bit about you? Who are you? A little something, a little bit about your story.
Not I'm nervous. My name is Substance. I am predominantly a poet, chosen to be FemC, and I do a little bit of everything. This year, I stepped into a completely new bag for myself and made a board game. I make music, I teach, I give hugs. You need it, I got it. You think of it, I've done it. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love. And I mean, there's so many places I want to begin, so I'm just excited that we have time, you know what I mean, that you even hear. Exactly. And we can do it. But even like, okay, so you said predominantly a poet, you know what I'm saying? So exactly. So that occupies the most time. It's something you're able. And what I love always having on is not only when we can have creatives on, you know what I mean, on the show, and people that share their gifts with the world in such a beautiful way, but also people who have been able to make a living, you know what I'm saying, off it. It's huge because it's not the easiest thing to do, but I love like being able to show people it can happen. You know what I mean?
Like, absolutely possible. I feel like I'm a testament to that at this point in time. For a long time, I did not consider poetry a career. And last year was the first time that I got paid my asking price.
Oh, let's go.
And it was like once that bar was set, everybody just knew what to do after that. So if you think you can't make a living, you can.
Right.
It's out there. It's possible. Ask for what you're worth.
Yes.
But it's trying.
Yeah.
It is trying, mostly because it's project based. It'd be different if there was some sort of way that you can, like, 9 to 5 it. But because that doesn't exist, it's trying, but it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But speaking of trying, like, I've seen you at many events, you know what I'm saying? Like open mics, different types of events, different areas, different avenues, and all of that. And like, of course, I'm super curious, like how you even, if it was something you always carried, that you always loved, that you always poured into, and then also the career thereafter.
So I definitely think I was born into it. My father and my mother, my father was a big hip hop head. I didn't have a choice but to be interested in lyricism. It was, that was never a choice for me. My mom is a poet too, actually. She'll try to act like she's not, but she's a poet too. So I truly do think I was born into it. It feels like it was hereditary.
Wow. I love that.
I think I started writing around 12 when I was like, this is poetry, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm calling it.
Right.
And I would write for church. They thought that was so cool that I was a poet, so I was writing for God.
Hey.
And then in my 6th grade year of schooling, I transferred to Cleveland School of the Arts.
Okay.
But they didn't allow anybody under 9th grade to be in the creative writing program.
Okay.
So I started off in band. I was playing saxophone.
What? Cool.
My heart is there too. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But in 9th grade, I did transfer to creative writing, and it's kind of just been upward climb since then.
Right.
Yeah, poetry was definitely everything to me. I was a very quiet child, so I put everything that I wasn't saying into the words, into the page, and it just continued to become something that was like near and dear to me, but also something that I was intentional about developing.
Right.
Because it was like writing and then it was performing. Early on, I was definitely trained.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I was trained.
And how dope is that like the fam was just, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, you couldn't escape it.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally. I love it. It feels, and I say predominantly poet, chosen to be FemC, because I do feel like it's part of my purpose.
Let's go.
It's part of why I'm here.
Yep.
And it's literally something that, like, the best way I can say it is that it's an intentional craft. It's something that you are like constantly, or I am constantly coming back to and realizing that I have grown. There's times where I'm like, I need to be intentional about this for the sake of my sanity.
Right.
It's always there. It's always
Yes,
there.
exactly. And it feels good though to have that validation. You know what I'm saying? So I think I've tried everything under the sun, every job, including Hiram. So yeah, we'll get to that in a second. So you know, and yes, like definitely try, which is great experientially, I guess we could
Yeah.
say. But it was a lot. It was a lot of different things, and therapy has been my new. So like I was actually still developing that part of my career even when I started the podcast. But like now I'm actually coming into it, and I swear I be in them sessions like, you know, this is definitely where you need to be. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can actually feel that. But I love it because I'm also realizing the greater skill is that healing piece. I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, long as I'm in some avenue providing that, yo, everything else, like it does not feel like work. I just know that this is the way I want to touch people and be a part of it. So like I love knowing that, you know what I mean? You add your beauty as well. But yes, you feeling that validation is definitely
Beautiful.
key.
And I do think I consider everything to be art. Anything that you can develop, anything that you can move people with is art. I don't stump on anybody's type of art, and I think therapy is a beautiful art form, and it takes shape in so many different types of art forms. I think conversation is an art form.
Yeah.
I feel like you're doing the work you're supposed to be doing, just based on what I've witnessed. So
Oh no, thank you. Okay, but also, oh yeah, that too. I wanted to say. So ever since we like connected on social, I love like the support too. You know what I'm saying? That you be showing. Yes,
yeah,
be
I don't
loving. So
play.
I was like, good. And because that's the thing. So as I've mentioned on the show, I love bringing people on that I'm a fan of, which I am. You know what I'm saying? But I also love when it's people that also support, you know, like what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like that vibe with what's happening and all that. Because it ain't like I hope I'm not like every other show. You know what I'm saying? Out there either. You know what I'm saying? Or at least, and forget show. I just like that it feels like just a regular convo, like you said. You know what I'm saying? That we just trying to bring people on and we just trying to do that. If it feels like a production, I'ma quit because I don't actually like that.
That's
and
valid.
if it gets too much like that, then I'm cool because I feel like there's other things we could do that feel authentic.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? To us,
I'm with you on that.
I could walk away. So like I love that it's that, and I did appreciate that because I was like yes, and we're in a lot of like similar spaces. I'm realizing circles.
Yes, I cannot believe it's taking us this long to sit down
That's
and
what
talk
I'm
to each
saying.
other.
Like,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
It's overdue. Right. For real. But yes, and I have shouted out our little friend and common peer many times. So yes, I love
her.
But yeah, and you did go to Hiram.
I
which
did
is,
go to Hiram.
Yes, my
I
little
went to
alma
Hiram
mater.
College. I really did go to Hiram College.
Yes. And did you like it? I mean, or like, what was your experience?
So I do feel like everything happens for a reason, as cliche as that is. But the connections that I made at Hiram mean everything in this world to me. I'm still like, I have my core four.
Yep.
I love them to pieces, to life, all over again. And I think if nothing else, which I do feel like there were other things to gain, but those connections that I made with those people, I could not have gotten that anywhere else during that time. Like it really had to be that way in order for me to have those friends. And I love them so much. So,
Yay.
But I did learn a lot. I learned a lot about myself. And I think that was priority to me during that time because I don't really like school.
Yeah.
I went because I knew it was necessary and I knew there was something for me there.
Right.
But I learned a lot about myself. And I'm thankful for those lessons.
Let's go.
Greatly.
Yep.
It was a cool time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It ain't perfect though. Don't get me wrong. Now, come
Not
on
at
now.
all.
And because it also still is an institution.
Exactly.
You know, an institution's gonna institute. You know what I mean?
It was a PWI.
Yeah. So come on now, y'all. So the communities of color were definitely very like.
We had to stick together, baby.
Yeah, you had to though, because you know what I'm saying. Like, I mean, come on, we out here, and we weren't the majority.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then that's the crazy thing. So we were not at the same time.
No.
So like, right, I was there when you were there. I was an employee at that point, but I loved it because I was like, oh, seeing the babies all over again. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing everybody connect, what they were doing, all these things. But yeah, you needed that. You needed community, and you need community in general. But I love that it was a time where you learned about yourself, because that's what I feel like I want to keep preaching. Is that one, college ain't really the route for everybody. So I don't think. Why would that ever be the message? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's force yourself to do something that you may not even want to do. Absolutely not.
Exactly.
But should you be involved in things that help you do deeper discovery? Absolutely. Because that is the best thing you can do. And if you can walk away more enriched, even on you alone, then that part's worth it.
So valid. So valid. And I feel that way. I think people don't get the opportunity to know what it is that they want to receive out of an experience. And I feel like sometimes the lessons that we need to learn are kind of buried under these very surface level things. Like when you think college, people think, the typical education partying. And I'm like, no, I learned that, I don't know, I really love poetry, even when I'm far away from it. That was my first time being without poetry in my everyday life. Ever. Ever.
True story.
Yeah, so I just think you gotta get the opportunity Because
Right.
I was gonna say you have to know what you want, but you don't always know what you want to receive
That's true.
out of something. But if you feel like there's a calling for you there, no matter where it is,
Right.
yeah, allow yourself to be open to that.
Come
'Cause
on.
college itself, that surface route,
Yeah.
it ain't for the weak, baby.
I mean, man, no, that's true.
for
That
the
is
weak.
true. And you gotta have something that sustains you in the
Yes.
midst of it because, yeah, no, it's true. It ain't easy. And I've definitely heard some people that weren't able to get as much out. So I think it was interesting that I've been hearing more. Some folks that were like, yo, it was a specific purpose. So like, I'm just trying to get educated. I'm trying to get out. And so like, they didn't join anything, didn't do anything. And it's like, oh no, like that was where, you know what I mean? My fun was.
literally.
Like, I needed them meetings. Like, you know what I'm saying? So no, something to do. And you're living there. Like that was a cool
Yes,
experience.
That was dope.
So yes, and I know a lot of people commute, you know what I'm saying? They're doing their thing, they're knocking it out. And no, and respect to that because college is also expensive.
No, for real.
And we went to an expensive one.
We did.
Well, we had to charge a high price tag. But you know,
Honey.
things are getting, yes, exactly. We still feeling it. But it's like, thankfully it wasn't wasted, you know what I
No,
mean, all
for
those
real.
things. But yeah, but I'm glad we could have that. But you also said quiet child, which I can relate to. If y'all have been following, you know, I was a quiet kid too, and people always think I'm lying. I'm like, no, just because you hear this now does not mean it was always this way.
Literally.
So like, but you had the parents that were like linguistic as well, like found ways to also, but like, you were just internal, like just had big thinker.
I think like I am a big thinker.
Yeah.
One thing that I have learned just about myself is that I'm a Leo. And I literally just was getting into it with people on TikTok about Leos. Because people are like, Leos want the attention. They want to be the center of attention. They want this. They want you to see them. And I'm like, I don't. Unless it's a time where I have worked on this specific thing and I
Yes.
want you to see that specific thing.
Right.
So I feel like I had that mindset early
Yeah.
on. Like as a child, it was like, if I don't have whatever is prepared for you, then I don't need
Yeah.
to say anything. Like there's
Right.
nothing for me to say. You don't need to have your attention on me in this moment. So I
Right.
think I just did a lot of observing.
Yeah.
Also through therapy, I recognized that there were some traumas that I was not able to process at the time.
Right.
So instead of me like, you know, being able to work through those things, I was just quiet. Like it was just
Yeah.
like, I don't need to talk about that. I buried that. So I think it was a mixture of me not knowing what to do with my emotional self and me just acknowledging like, I don't have to be talking all the time. Like it's okay that I'm not speaking
Yeah.
right now.
Right.
And then poetry was like the middle ground of
Yeah.
that for me. It was like, I can talk here. This is somewhere where I do feel okay putting my time and energy and my words into. And when it's
Right.
time for y'all to hear it, then y'all will hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And it's cute because before we started recording y'all officially, my little baby, my oldest baby was just whipping and rolling up in here. First of all, with her Heelys, but all
Yes,
that.
I'm so
but
jealous.
Exactly. But it was so cute that you said like a little piece of your personality was in
Yes,
her
just
because
like me for real.
Yeah, well, guess what? Both of y'all are Leos. So that's why I'm mentioning it. So yeah, I just think yes, exactly. That's your little bookie. Don't worry. Yes, little piece of you. But and agreed. You know what's funny is same. That girl is also like doesn't always need to be vocal, doesn't always need to be out there. But when she does have something, it's pretty profound. I was like, hold up, boo, you still holding on to
I
that.
sat here and thought
Yeah.
about that for all this time.
Yes.
And
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and it's funny because as a child, I didn't think about it as an intentional thing. It was just like, I'm just being.
Yeah.
But the older I got, the more I recognized, like, oh, I was simmering over there. Like, it was just cooking.
Yes. You need a little cook, a little bit.
it.
Yes, exactly. But it's true. And I mean, what we're seeing in the world is that not everybody knows how to do that. You know what I mean? There's some people that are real loud right now.
That's
We're
true.
like,
That's
we need to
true.
hear a little less of you.
Please, that would be nice. Balance is
Exactly.
important, baby.
It is. And please know when to exercise your voice and when some restraint, you know what I mean, a little bit. But that's also why I think art is, I've been trying to just be surrounded, like literally engulfed in it, do whatever I can because things are so heavy. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it is such a great way to just feel lighter, feel better. It just does. And even like the space we're in right now, like I could never come here and feel freaking unhappy.
Y'all see
Freaking,
that?
you know what I'm saying?
Y'all know who made that? I'm sorry, I can't avoid it. Like, y'all know who made that? Lacey Talley made that.
Exactly.
We sitting here in front of greatness.
You're right.
Don't play.
No, for real.
I had to say it. I'm sorry, because it's really right there.
But that's what I'm saying. And yes, the woman is, that's why I'm always like bringing the babies to events, you know what I'm saying, and doing all these things because I'm just like, we need to see more of that, you know what I mean? And people, and also who just exude their talent and just like are in such alignment with it, but also make you smile so greatly because they're so, you know what I mean? It makes them feel so good. You feel good. You just got to be around it. But speaking of which, I had just told everybody that I was at an event with Lacey, and you so happened to also have an yes. And I didn't even realize, my bad. I had seen it.
It was a lot going on, baby.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie
It was
to
over
you.
20 performers in there.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I get it.
I'm realizing now, but even that was cool to me because I'm like, man, that's such a like under, you know what I'm saying, value thing that was going on. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking because of the way it was presented on her page, I did think it was just like a singular. And I'm like, wait, I needed a whole evening for this. I should have separated
Yes.
more time.
Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a whole festival, soft launch at Cleveland Public Theater. It was their first year doing it.
Yeah.
And it was quite the experience. It was the first time me and Lacey got to share artistic space. And I was literally just so grateful to like come in and see that she was also there.
Right.
It just made life worth living.
Yeah.
I love her so much.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I did soft launch and their whole thing was
Yeah.
just to allow people the space to kind of pitch an artistic idea. They wanted non-traditional theater things.
Yeah.
And they just wanted people, whatever part of the process you were in for your project, to show up and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is so dope because I'm like, yo, we are literally seeing so many more, like, not only artistic avenues and like platforms that are springing up, even like artists run the streets, whatever the heck.
Yeah.
Our whole city was like, yo, we want to put like money behind and literally showcase these things.
Yes.
So like, that's dope. Like, so y'all got to shout out our city. I know, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes Cleveland gets some flack, but
Yeah.
our city is clearly vibrant, you know what I'm saying?
is.
Colorful, and it's literally celebrating artists. Like, I don't see that everywhere, at least not on that scale.
Yeah.
I think some cities, they're already known for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe Los Angeles already got art districts. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do this. But this is really dope, I feel like, for us.
It is.
And I
It's
think,
amazing
yes.
timing. It's amazing timing. I have heard of, for like maybe 2-3 years now, in different areas, avenues, places, I have just heard somebody say like, it's like Cleveland is experiencing an artistic renaissance.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
resurgence is the word that I think of because Cleveland
Yeah.
is historically known for being popping.
Yeah, right.
And just in my own journey, being born here, being raised
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
it's artists everywhere. Like you
Right.
can't go anywhere and not experience art
Right.
somehow, some way.
Yep.
So I think like it feels like it's just finally time for that to be highlighted
Yep.
and a spotlight put on artists that have been working. Like everybody here has been working. They've
Yes.
been arting. They've been doing it. And
Yep.
it's a great time to be an artist right now. in Cleveland.
Yes,
It's a really great time.
exactly. I love that it feels good because you know what I'm saying. Deserve the little celebration, little honoring. You know what I'm saying for something. Yes. And I was gonna say, okay, so and hopefully this doesn't shadow that, but I was gonna ask like, now has it always been welcoming? Because you've been doing it for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, has it been, or has it been easy to navigate? You know, how has it been? Going through the artistic waters, if you will.
I do think it's been a mixture because like I'm thinking about resources and I'm thinking about audience.
Okay.
And I feel like Cleveland has an interesting energy when it comes to being receptive to things that are good for them.
Okay, that's a good way.
Not to
put
say
it.
too much.
Yeah.
I love my city.
Yes.
Down and up again.
Yes.
But we have a problem just sitting and receiving things that feel good. And I think it's because like we got a dark cloud over this city.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
over the state too, but over the city in particular. And I think that happens in places where there are a lot of artists because they
so
have to be the
good.
revolutionaries.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're kind of seeing shift and change during this time is like, okay, everybody was kind of down bad for a long time. We don't know why we felt that way. We don't know where the dark cloud came from. It
That
ain't
is
really
so
been no
true.
rain either. It's just been a dark cloud. Like it's not nourishing us. It's just been dark. We got the curse. We got the Browns. Like it's just...
Oh my gosh, that's so true.
I'm telling you, I don't know how, and I don't know how
Yeah.
crazy this may sound, but I really do think that the curse is linked to the artistic resurgence. I don't know how, but the curse might be removed. Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
But I
Love that,
do
though.
think like
I love that.
we're seeing that cloud finally start to move, and it is because we are highlighting artists and
Yeah.
pouring into artists. And I don't think it's always been easy to be an artist in Cleveland, especially if you are conscious or
Yeah.
woke.
Oh.
Because if people don't want to wake up, the last thing they want to hear about is you being woke. Like,
That's true.
I'm trying to sleep, shut up. Like,
Right.
and I do think we are like kind of elevating just
Yeah.
as people, as humankind. But definitely in Cleveland, it feels like people are like, I don't know, kind of tired of struggling.
Yeah.
Kind of want to make different choices.
Yes, exactly.
So I do think I feel like my lifetime I have experienced just the gradual it getting better.
Yeah.
So it was not always easy to
Okay,
navigate.
no, yeah,
I
say that.
definitely was not getting paid for it before. There's an avenue for me to get paid for it in so many different ways, whether it's government funding, whether it is grants, residencies, fellowships, actual job offers.
Yep.
There's a lot more open to artists in Cleveland right now where you can actually get paid for
Yeah.
doing your art somehow, some way.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like I have just witnessed the growth, and it's been
Yes.
beautiful to witness, quite frankly.
I mean, let's go.
we came from a dark place, but baby, we in a lot.
Yes, exactly. And I love that. Yes. For so many reasons, right? But also as a therapist, I love hearing that because I'm like, yo, I do feel like and just that part, we got to, it's funny because I was at the open mic, they were saying rewind. That was new for me.
Rewind?
Yeah. When
Yup.
you really feeling it. So you might have to rewind that part. But it was especially the part about like, man, having that resistance to accepting what is good for you. Cause it's not bad.
No.
It is something that's good for you. But we do that. And even as human beings, just period,
Yes.
we definitely do. We have this like, but it's actually something that can serve you or, but we're like, nah, but do we really? I mean, but should
that's
I?
new.
Yeah, yeah.
But that make me uncomfy.
Exactly.
But I don't know about that.
Exactly.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. Right. So we'd rather do that. We'd rather entertain all those parts of the conversation. But it is true. For some of these things, you do have to show up. Yes, you might have to do some work, but y'all, we promise there is light over here. It's getting colorful. You know what I mean? Get smacked with some color.
There's stuff everywhere.
But yeah, and it can make you feel great. So that's why I'm like, yes, but sometimes it does. It does require that, and it does require that acceptance, peace, and it does definitely require you to confront, these different parts. And I think sometimes, yes, it's not the easiest thing to do. And I love that you shared that, yeah, so it hasn't always been easy. You have found ways. And that's what I was curious about too, because obviously, so you had School of the Arts, which is super dope, you know what I'm saying? And then Hiram, which was, I'm sure, its own interesting.
It was
like
a
we
time.
said, it was
It was
a journey. It always is though. You always hear the Hiram stories, you be like, yeah, let me know. Because knowing.
Still in therapy for that.
Yeah,
Got
I
you.
mean, yeah, because it can't exactly that too. Because unfortunately, it can be damaging also.
Yes.
Because you come across, and the poor babies. I've also had some clients that were from Hiram, so I'm just gonna say
It's a lot.
they keep me employed. So that's a problem. I just want to be clear that it's because they stress. But
No, for real.
exactly. And unfortunately, I will say not just there, right? Like just at some higher ed institutions, we definitely got some people that I'm realizing too, like it's in different spaces too. Like there's just a lot of people that are in power. Don't need to be in power. And it's also like you around babies. Like I need you. Why are you doing that? Like
Why
if you
you
didn't want to
acting
be,
like that?
yeah. And it's like you giving, you don't really like kids. So why you doing it?
So don't do it.
Yeah, like there's other jobs though. You know what I'm saying? Faceless. You could be at home, you know what I'm saying? You could do whatever. And I don't get it because if you're not here to really pour in to like youth and you don't even understand youth, then yeah, exactly. Please learn how to remove yourself because they shouldn't feel worse after
for real.
interacting with you.
And I think like energetically that's felt in institutions. And I think that's part of the reason I was like, I didn't want to go to college. Like
Yeah.
I did not want to
I feel
go.
you.
Because I'm like, I go to these places, I was going on college visits and I'm like, this feels terrible. Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't even make my spirit feel good. Hiram was one of the few places that I went to and I was like, okay, my heart's thumping a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
The sun is out here.
right. Right.
But yeah, I don't get it and I've never understood it. And
Yeah.
I do think that is something that's also changing and transforming. Is like
Yeah.
people older than us don't realize or did not realize that they didn't have to be stuck in these jobs.
Yeah.
And I think like the energy felt so heavy or feels so heavy now
Yeah.
because people are realizing like, I'm not happy here and I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And that's a big epiphany for a lot of
is true.
people.
That
Like
is
my
very
whole
true.
life is about to change
Yep.
based on me realizing that I don't have to do this thing that I've been
Right.
working so hard for and trying to do and made a promise to my mama that I would do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
Excellent
I,
point.
I don't do well in jobs that are not for me.
Come
that I don't feel
on.
good in. So I
Exactly.
don't understand how people go years working jobs that they don't like. Because I'm like,
That ain't me. Come on now.
I'm outta there.
Exactly.
I'm outta
Yeah. And you should be able to, but I agree with that. And it does inform the ideology that a lot of them will place onto us. Like, just make it work. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yep.
Because they're used to like, what? We don't need to. And we look so flighty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as millennials and as, up and coming, it's just like, why y'all keep jumping job to job? Like, what is up with this? But it's like, no, we don't need to. We ain't. Yes. And if it ain't working for us, if they're not compensating us appropriately, or if we just feel, you know what I'm saying, not
don't feel
good.
right.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not aligned. So yeah, no, we're not going to. And that's what I was curious about too, was that, so you mentioned how the artistry was up and down. So like, and you of course graduated, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you, and went on, you know what I'm saying, from college, hey. And then like, you know what I'm saying, at least was able to say, knock that out and did that. So like life after college, was it like a whirlwind?
it
or-
was quite the whirlwind. It was just such an emotional time. Because I think one thing that we don't focus on enough in those transitions from high school to college and post is the second puberty you go through. Like you are
that's a good
becoming a
point.
completely different version
Yeah.
of yourself.
That's true.
During that time. And like every year is something new. Just with yourself, with your internal self, with the things that you are experiencing externally. So for me, that was a crazy time. My mom, my oldest sibling under me, we're 15 years apart. And then there's two after him. So my mom was having babies, and I'm like, I don't want to have no babies. So like I had that kind of thing going on where it was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna do the regular grown thing. Like I'm not about to settle down and have kids. Like that's not about to happen.
Right.
So it was a lot of navigating, figuring out who I was, what I wanted in a world that was not dictated by the space of college. Because it was like I got accustomed to the college life. I lived there, knew how to operate there, and then I had to learn how to operate outside of there. But I taught after college. I taught for like 3 or 4 years after college.
I knew that. Okay.
Yeah, so my degree is in educational studies.
Okay.
I had a focus in after school programming, and I was a teaching artist for years.
Nice.
Different programs. I started off at 12 Literary Arts. And then I moved on to just like, I don't know. Honestly, people were like, you teach, don't you? Here, do this workshop.
Right.
So it kind of just became that for years. And I was living a decent life off of that.
Nice.
But it did feel like I was not able to practice my art as much as I wanted to, because it was like I have to teach it to these children. So like, I don't really. Yeah. So I didn't notice that was kind of happening in my process until much later, until I wasn't teaching anymore, honestly. But yeah, I taught for years. And then I was unemployed for a little while. And then I was like, oh, that's what hit that shutdown.
Oh, yeah.
That shutdown. That was the first time I lived on my own too. Like I felt like things were just going right in my life. And I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And then they were like, actually,
Yo, so
life
true.
as you know it will not be the same anymore.
Oh my gosh, so true.
And I was like determined to be unemployed at that time. I was like, I want to make this work. I really want to make this work. And I actually started, that's when LLCs hit the Black community. So I started
for sure.
I started
Get
LLC
one of those, right?
for my photography and videography business, Real Substance Films. And it's funny because that's not, I don't even want to do that.
Yeah,
like, I don't even want to do
it.
that. But I was like, I could get paid for that without having to actually get a job.
Right.
And then like I went through ups and downs with like being employed for like 3 months at a time or so. Cause again, I'm out of there if it don't work. If it's not working, I'm out of there. A couple teaching gigs. I worked in food service in a spot that I love in Oberlin. I love Oberlin, Ohio.
Hey.
Yeah. And then I finally decided that I didn't want to work for nobody else. And I think that you really got to be careful what you wish for. Because now I'm like, I need a little extra money and I need a job and I just can't get a job. And I feel like it's because of the 3 years that I spent saying, I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to be an artist. If the art don't pay, then I'm not doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
So, literally,
sure. Yes.
literally. I was like, let me be careful what I ask for.
Right.
But now the money is coming from the art. And I'm very thankful for that. And it was a trying time again.
Yeah.
Life was lifing.
Right.
Post-college, immediately life was lifing for me.
Right.
But you figure it out at some point and it starts to make sense at some point.
Yes, exactly. And I'm just glad it eventually came around. You know what I mean? So like there wasn't enough too that eventually, you know, like obviously forced you to like have to abandon it or whatever. Like you kind of took breaks, you know what I'm saying, from it. But one, it was always in your heart, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of knew eventually that like, wow, I need to return to this, like to really come back home to what really makes me feel at home, because all these other things are just kind of like, you know, little separations, right, from that. And so like, yeah, I agree. And I know some, like you said, that combine the teaching, you know, like they're also, they're able to do artistry while also doing that. I agree. But I hear you. It doesn't necessarily mean that it helps lend itself to you being able to create your own work. Because you creating your own work takes time, you know what I'm saying? Also, it's something that you pour into. And I mean, people also probably think that that's, you know, easy, but that's not necessarily an easy thing to do, right? Or to cultivate. Exactly. It's not just something, and even you're saying like, so now the money's coming in, and thank God it is, you know what I'm saying? But that took time as well. That was not an overnight experience. And you had to learn a lot about like which places to even get it from and all of that. Right. So like, and did anybody put you on, or you kind of trial and error?
I do feel like there was, and I just, again, believe in everything happening for a reason. And when you are choosing the path that brings you joy, I'm not even going to say meant for you, because sometimes you don't always recognize that it's meant for you. But when you are choosing the path that makes your heart flutter, that makes you feel like you got a crush on that thing, things will just start to align. Like they'll just fall into place, even when it's trying, even when it's hard, even when it doesn't make sense. Things are falling into place. So I do feel like when I recognized that poetry in particular was something that I had to keep doing and something that
Yeah.
I had to come back to and had to keep close to myself,
Yeah.
it just started making sense outside
Yeah.
of me. Like I just started meeting the right people. I do feel like Katarina Smiley
Hey.
was a godsend to my life. It is because of her that I even asked for my value on
Okay.
paper.
Yes.
She told me to hike it up, and I was like, "Oh, actually, you're right. I should."
You're
And
right.
people were like, "Oh yeah, we'll pay you that," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yo, but it's that fear of being afraid to even be able to ask.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes. Literally, because we as artists, we as the others, the non 9 to 5ers, because we don't have like a roadmap or a
Yeah.
guidebook for how things should go, how they should look, how you should even be pricing your services.
Yeah.
We don't know those things.
Yeah.
So when it comes time for us to ask for what we need, it's like, but can I ask for that because this, and this doesn't look the way people are usually looking for services that they're paying for. And I just think on one hand, it's a lot that we don't know.
Yeah,
And we don't
of course.
get the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, it is this fear because it's like, I don't know. Art is kind of subjective. And if you pay this money and feel like I didn't do a good job, then where does that land us?
Yeah.
Don't lowball.
Yeah. Hello. Let's go.
Never lowball. And no's mean 2 yeses. Every time there's a no, it's 2 yeses right around the corner.
Yo.
I promise you. I promise you. Yeah.
That is so true. No, and then what's crazy is like even recent. So I've been going into my little acting like small bag, small bag, a little bit, check me out. So so one time I played a Latina mom that was like in this movie, which y'all need to get that out sweatshirt. I'm gonna just tell them, hey y'all, where the movie at? But so we did that. They're still working on it, and I guess getting it out and stuff like that.
For sure.
But it was it was a fun little experience. There was this other thing that I remember trying out for, and I did get a no.
Okay.
And I remember being like, okay. I mean, well, actually, they didn't say anything. They just kind of let it fall to the wayside. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna they must have went another direction. It's cool. But then what's crazy is they came back with something else later that ended up leading me to like exposure. They wanted to talk about the show too. So it led to all this like genuine things. So I was like, see, and if I would have been, hurt, let that stop me from whatever. It's like, no, like be willing to try. And like, I love that you said that because it is true. And rejection, that's also something as humans, we don't really take well.
And they're gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They're
It is unavoidable
going
though.
to happen.
Right.
Like, it's going to happen. And quite frankly, I am okay with the rejections that I have received.
Yeah.
You never know what you are being protected from, shielded
Right.
from, or just not welcomed into. Sometimes that's the best thing that could have happened for you in that moment. You
Let's
never
go.
know how being somewhere or being involved with certain people is going to affect you
Right.
later on.
Yep.
So it's okay.
Yo.
Rejections no's are gonna happen, babe.
Yeah, exactly. It's
They're
okay,
going
Bookie.
to happen.
You're right. It is part of the process.
It
yes.
is.
Yeah.
And you'll be stronger because of it.
Right.
You'll meet the right people because of it.
Right.
And it'll all work out.
Yes.
It'll all work out.
It will. I love that though. But yeah, definitely be willing to try. Definitely, be willing to ask for your value. I love
Yes.
that. But also, I did also love that piece. I mean, you mentioning about it being subjective though, because I can imagine that also makes you question because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I love that you, regardless, you live in this world of poetry. You know what I'm saying? And you know that's your, like, I don't know, your muse or your way of being able to exercise your voice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all those things. But also too, like, as you're getting inspired there's so many things I'm sure you've talked about over the years. My gosh, like so many pieces of poetry that you made, some released, some still, you know what I'm saying? That you have, like, are there different ways that you find inspiration and figure it out? Like that you even, you know what I mean? I'm just
I like the way your brain works because I didn't know where that was going.
Keep you on your toes. Keep you on your toes.
I feel like I'm inspired by everything. It's funny because during the time that I was not particularly performing poetry, like I was here and there intentional about writing it, but when I was not performing poetry, I would try to figure out what my inspiration was.
Right.
Like, where is the motivation coming from? How am I going to sit down and write these pieces?
Yeah.
And it literally comes from anything. And because it is an expressive tool for me, I can have a thought. When I'm angry, I write really good poems. I did notice that.
Yes.
When I'm angry, I write really good poems because I don't like to hurt people's feelings.
Okay.
So when I get angry, I'm gonna go to the page first because
Okay.
again, I'm a Leo. I could, but I'm not gonna
Right.
do you like that because I care about you.
Yes.
So
okay.
I really tapped into my anger post college. I
Okay.
avoided it for so long. Anger and grief, quite frankly.
Okay.
I was avoiding them both. I lost my dad early on.
Oh, no.
I was 12, so it was like
Oh, wow.
something that I did not face until much, much later in life. And I'm still just now like, right, I ain't crying about that. Let me go ahead and but yeah, anger is a great is a great motivator, is great inspiration. Even if not to make beautiful art, just to know what it is that has you effed up is a power.
Okay.
Once you can acknowledge like this is why that stirred me so much, this is why it upset me so much, you have power over that situation and you can show up better if you get challenged with that again.
I love that.
I also get inspiration just from like Blackness and people of color.
Let's go.
There's nothing more inspiring to me than a Black woman.
Yeah.
In so many ways, educationally, spiritually, artfully, poetically, fashionably, hairly.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
The Black woman has been a major, and probably because, you know, I am her.
Let's go.
But a major
Absolutely.
inspiration in my journey. I love nature too. Trees are a big inspiration for me. I cannot get enough of trees. I feel like they teach me so much. And I did have to, at some point in time, define inspiration for myself. Because I feel like I was looking to just be able to write pieces. Like inspiration was to me, I'm going to sit down and write this piece. What will get me to sit down and just write? Whole time, everything was, again, cooking. It was stirring. It was mixing. It was settling. It was rising. So that I could be in a place where I could put everything that I had processed, everything that I had experienced and observed into something that is a piece, into something that is considered art or poetry, a poem. But yeah, inspiration comes from everywhere.
Yeah, no, I love that.
From everywhere.
I love that. And just the different sources you even mentioned, because they already got me smiling. I'm thinking like, yes. And I love that we are, you know, talking about that, especially during this time. And I also love that Black History Month leads into Women's History Month. You know what I'm saying? What's up with that? Let's go.
Because don't play.
But also, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. That part. But also like, too, that, you know, and it's also such a great season for Black women as well. You know what I'm saying? What's good. I love seeing the winning. Literally was Doechii with the, you know what I'm saying? Grammy. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Third woman overall, but they was all Black on top of that. What's good? Was y'all there? I know, because that speech, it was the speech for me. I was like, yes.
It's
like
her for me. That tiny desk, and I'll be honest, I was not one of the people who was listening to Doechii.
Oh, no, me neither. That's what I was saying. No,
That
she got
tiny
me.
desk moved me,
Yeah.
grooved me,
I feel
changed
you.
me. It was everything that I needed to see as a child. Like I
right.
wouldn't have been a quiet child had I saw that tiny desk performance
Right.
when I was a child. I would not have been quiet. I would have been a lot louder. I would have been a lot more intentional. I would have been in everybody's face.
Right.
But it's really amazing to see, and I feel like that was like not a catalyst, that's not the word I'm looking for, but like an example of how the tides are shifting. Again, I don't want to sound like a crazy person, but it's just certain patterns that I see breaking and habits in society that I see kind of changing and transforming. Like we're not, Doechii did it. And then she told every little Black girl that they could do it.
Exactly.
And like we felt it when she said it.
Yes, exactly.
It wasn't that she was just talking.
No.
She moved people when she said it.
Correct.
And I think that we standing up.
Yes.
It's us. Like
Let's go.
she did it, so why wouldn't I be able to do anything else?
Yes. Exactly.
She won a Grammy after she got fired. She was crying, sad about getting fired.
Yes.
And then she won a Grammy.
Yo.
Yeah.
Like that's dope. Exactly. And then like, and you know, one of mine is always Issa. I always find a way to work Issa into the conversation.
We love Issa.
I know. It's just there's no time where I don't. So girl, I'm telling you, one day just bring me on. Issa, come on. You know what I'm saying? I just need to be in the room.
You heard her.
Exactly. Exactly. And same with her. Like that's the woman I feel like knows how to knock down doors. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna find a way. Exactly. Because I feel like for the longest all we heard was Tyler Perry, which, you know, respect to the man, because goodness, male Oprah, you know what I'm saying? Like he does everything and, you know, and then some and all these things. But like, yo, when you can form your new avenues and find these new ways, you know what I'm saying, in ways that were not always, especially to women and Black women at that. Because it's intersectionality, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I do love when women win, period. But I mean, when Black women win, you know what I mean? That just adds on a little extra. Exactly. And because it's not always available.
Right.
Because, and then that's the thing, because with Doechii being the third woman, Black woman at that to do it, we still haven't first. You know what I'm saying? So clearly there's also still room. You know what I'm saying? But you definitely getting a lot of inspiration, you know what I'm saying, from there. And like you said, fashionably, you know, what have you, the drip be real, the legendariness be just legendary. But like, it's just all of that, you know? So like, I agree. It's beyond inspirational. We got some like greats that we've had, and they were these amazing, you know, individuals. So I agree. I love that you draw inspiration from all these beautiful places. But also the one thing I got to make sure I get back to is that you mentioned, so like, you know, and also if you crush on something, you know, with this crush. So like the other cool thing is, so we got to make sure we get into this. I don't know how you got here, you know what I'm saying? But I just love this marriage, right? Because I love, you know what I'm saying, being able to talk more loudly about Black things. Because I was just going on about like, I actually, you know what I'm saying, talk about being Black, which I feel like a lot of Latinos don't. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm not one of y'all. So like, we gonna talk about it. And you mad because like, it's in everywhere though, Bookie. Like the reason why we got bomba, plena, salsa, like all this is African, Bookie. That's why it's flavorful. You know what I mean? So like, but what's up? But I feel like, yeah, I get it. I know there's still a lot of Latinos there, even in my family. They're even, you know what I'm saying, people very close to me that still, they have that, and they've been taught that opposition, so they gonna keep it up. You know what I'm saying? I get that, but we definitely need to break that as well, and we need to definitely, you know, celebrate more, but I think we can do that with love.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And like really speaking love, but living love. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I really...
It's that part.
Yes. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I always saw love as an action. I was...
That's fair.
Yeah, like I really was the big believer in like, it really is an emotion, it's a feeling. And I've been learning recently, I'm saying as of late, that like, no, it really is something you do though. You know what I'm saying? And you show. And like, you could really show up better when you do that. Yes. And so like, hello, you know what I'm saying? This beautiful person, like I love that you also like do that, but you found ways to really like showcase that, you know what I mean? Have people experience that. So you just gotta tell us, one, I wanna know how you got to the crush, you know what I'm saying? This whole thing, right? Yeah. But then also, if board game, come on. So just, you gotta give us all of it, just story time, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's so funny because I don't wanna call them my fans, but I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, of course.
I owe them some videos.
Oh, yeah.
And a story time in particular about this. So this is practice, y'all. If y'all
for
see
that.
This the preview for the story time.
There we go.
Y'all. It's on the way. I'm busy. Y'all see me.
Exactly. For real.
So Crushin', which was the name of my soft launch project. Yep. Crushin' started off. Life is crazy. It started off as a crush that I had on this boy in the studio. This man. We was grown, but it was childish.
We do that sometimes, yes.
And I was like constantly just at the studio, which I've known these people for years. I'm always at the studio for months at a time. But he was there during that time, and it was such an interesting process for me because I was able to acknowledge that we had like some sort of attraction or feelings for each other, but I'm like, we're not compatible. You get on my nerves. I literally like don't want you here when you are here, but I'm also like making love songs. It wasn't making any sense to me. I'm like, it's just not adding up. And I was like, I love a plot thickening. So I was like, we just gonna see what happened. Like, we gonna see what's to it. And it developed. The plot developed a lot. But I think the biggest thing that came from that experience for me was again recognizing and learning about myself. But I learned what limerence was, which is essentially when we have crushes on people, particularly when it becomes to a point where it's like you are involving yourself in this person's life. They're always on your mind. And it feels like it is being fueled by this other person, but limerence taught me that it's not. It's an internal thing. And we are experiencing moments that we should be learning about ourselves and what we are attracted to, or really asking questions like, why do I find myself attracted to you? What is it that's doing it for me? And I started doing that with that crush that I had. It was like, okay, we sitting in a room and I'm like, I can list all these things that I don't like. So what is it that I do? I just like that he made music. That was really all it was. And at that time, I had the desire to make music because I hadn't done it in years. So I was like, oh, I didn't really like you. I just liked that you was in the studio. But I'm in the studio too, so I don't have to do that part.
True.
Yeah, and it was like little things slowly, me asking myself these questions. And I came to just realize like, that whole crush, that was fueled by me. I was attracted to myself in that process. Things that I hadn't tapped into, things that I didn't realize were attracted to me about myself. So limerence. And then I was like, because I always have crushes. I crush for a living. I have said that to multiple people at this point. Like, literally, like... I have a whole process. I know when I'm gonna have a crush. I know when I see somebody like this is gonna develop into an actual crush. I am able to identify it. I don't go anywhere unless there's a possibility that I fall in love there.
Okay.
So this is my field. This is my realm. But I'm like, I wonder if other people know what limerence is.
Yeah.
And it was a term that kind of got popular like around last year on TikTok, which is how I found out what it was. Oh,
Yeah, I'm about to say. Yeah. Come on now.
And I was like, people need to know what this is. And I also felt like it was important for children to know what that was.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine, Khadijah Quingo. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do all the name drops because I love my community.
As you should. I love
my community.
Yes.
She told me about soft launch, and I was like, well, Crushing started off as a musical project. I made a whole EP. I made a whole EP that walks through the limerence phases because that's what I was going through with that man. Like, I started off with the love songs. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I'm in love. It was love songs. It was Jill Scott. It was cute. It was incense and such.
Right.
And then it was like Rhapsody, where I was like, actually, I really just like this music. And and then it was me like coming to the realization that I was like not pouring into myself, and that when I did that, started producing more music. And then the final phase was just like, he was acting up in that studio. And I'm like, I can't even be physically around you. Like, we can't even be in the same space. And this one night he had made me so mad that I made a diss song about him that night. I'm talking about freestyled it. I don't even freestyle. I write. I'm a poet. I write. I freestyled it.
Oh, dang. That's how you know.
Freestyled the whole song. Literally, I'm like, I'm mad. Like, the adrenaline is crazy. And that song was literally about me getting over the crush, which I was manifesting, didn't know I was, but I was manifesting.
Right.
So I went through the whole process, and now I have a whole musical EP that like walks you through the limerence process. So when I talked to Khadijah, I'm like, I have this idea. Crushing is a thing, but I don't know how to make it something physical. Like, I don't know how to make it art. Visual art. And literally just going through the soft launch process is how we got to the board game. People ask me at soft launch, like, how did you come up with a board game? And I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Literally that week before, as we were prepping and preparing, every day I would come in, look at my set, and be like, okay, well, I know I want people to feel this way. I know I want hearts involved. And literally the first day that we opened, no, it was our tech rehearsal the day before we opened. I was just staring, looking at everything that I had bought, spent a lot of money on, and I was like, this has to make sense by tomorrow. Like, it has to make sense by tomorrow. And at some point, it just clicked. And I was like, wow. So essentially, the board game walks you through the 4 stages of limerence.
Wow.
And I used such... whatever. It was hearts. It was cute. But I used scenarios from my real life of me having crushes on people to walk you through those phases. So it was very intimate for me. I really poured my whole self into that board game. And still to this day cannot tell you how it became a board game. I literally just had a crush.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
and we
where it
here.
started.
Yes. Wow. But even that's so cool to me. So like, one, because like, it's also because we also mentioned Sarah. So shout out to Sarah Taylor. That's another one. You know, hey, what's up? Okay. And because these different emotions that we get to touch on, you know what I'm saying, in the show and in people, I would definitely say Sarah embodies joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? And so like, I love that she, you know, does that, says that, and lives that. And then like with you, of course, love. I'm feeling it.
Thank
you know what I mean?
I
Yes.
appreciate
It's
that.
giving that.
You see the hearts. They're everywhere, babe.
You know what I'm saying? But yes, and just for us to be able to do that, but I think combining those two, that like, you know, when Sarah was on, I really loved her mentioning of like, let's not forget to have fun, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, now we grown out here, it's already dark enough. Like, let's do that. And you are, you know, of course, coming with that love piece, which is also something important to remember. We should love each other. Like, it's free, but we can give it. It's a gift, you know what I'm saying, to be shared. And it's super cool to be able to do that in a way with the game, you know, like not to play, you know what I'm saying, with it, but it literally like to be able to bring it in such an inviting way, right? To be able to talk about it and walk you through it. So I love that, like hearing that, yes. But then too, like for you to be able to hands-on, you know what I'm saying, go through something like that's so cool to me. So like, yes, you are correct. At soft launch, there was a lot. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of different people, but it was so cool because like you ain't gonna tell me you was bored. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? Like there was
exactly.
something for everybody. Yes, that was there. But I think that was also what was so remarkable to me. Like everything felt like this really immersive, you know what I mean, experience. And so yours definitely being one of those. And that's funny because I didn't even know what it was behind the curtain. It was apparently this whole curtain thing, y'all. Y'all don't understand. It was like this piece over here, mirrors over here.
Yeah.
But then behind there was also, you know, I guess we having a party too. But
Hey.
you know what I'm saying? And then behind there was also so much more
Yeah.
that you can then, you know, experience and do and, you know, and be able to like really feel and like, you know, be a part of. But it was great that you really like was able to do that and walk people through this whole experience and stages.
I don't
That's
know how it
dope.
happened. I'm very thankful for that feedback.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for all the feedback I received, quite frankly, because again, like literally I was working on pieces of that exhibit every day before opening. Like
Yeah, wow.
every day. Cause I'm like, this has to be better. This has to make sense. I wanted people to be able to walk through the process themselves.
Yeah.
But I ended up having to stay and guide people. And I'm actually thankful for those experiences too, because they let me know how people were receiving what was happening.
Yeah.
And people just being excited to play the board game and like kind of subconsciously learning something at the same time.
Right.
That's what I like to do. I like
Yeah.
people to experience substantial things given
Yeah.
the name.
Let's go. Right? All Schnapples.
So it was such a rewarding experience. Like I cannot still put into words just how rewarding that experience was and how
Right.
grateful I am for that experience for real.
Yes. And then also what I think too that I like walked away with too is that I've seen art, like art makes you feel alive, right? Like it already does, but I've never seen it live. Like that's what I think was so cool to me. And so I was like, so what I thought was dope was having this at the Cleveland Public Theater, for one, because it's a Cleveland staple,
Right.
you know what I mean? So like that's super dope. But then I was like, oh, I get like why theater, because it felt like I was going through these different things that like really made me feel alive and made me like see it live as a production. I was like, well, I never knew art could really do that. Because sometimes you do see it as 2D, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or like, because it is a painting or something. Like the colors are definitely vibrant. You're going to feel something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then with poetry, you ain't going to tell me you ain't going to get some chill. You know what I
for
mean?
real.
Or something. Like it's going to hit you. It might make you mad. You might check yourself like, damn, they talk about me. Dang, because this one poem I heard, I was like, yeah, you did that. You know you did that. Damn. Like, get right.
felt.
Yeah, exactly. But received, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to, you know, to remind you. But seeing that was dope. Like, y'all really made it, you know, do that. So I love that you all were able to do that. And I'm glad you have that.
It was such a great time.
Yes, but you plan on taking it elsewhere, right? Because, like, I'm one of the people that needs to play that.
That's
you know what
fair.
I'm saying? Yeah.
I do. Honestly, with the feedback that I received after soft launch and during soft launch, I'm like, okay, so this could be a thing. Like this
Yeah.
could really be a thing. And again, I didn't have the vision for a board game ever in the process. So
Right.
to know that it came here,
Right.
and to see that people were so receptive, yeah, I really do want to make a version. I want to make a few versions actually. I was talking
Okay.
to a few
Oh, no.
different people about a few different things.
Okay.
But I
Let's
do
go.
want to make crushing as like child friendly as possible because
Okay,
I do
yep.
feel like that limerence process is something that I developed very early on.
Yeah.
Especially with my father's passing, like I just started to
Yeah.
romanticize these things with people because I'm like, this is better than thinking about the fact that he's out of here.
Right.
So I do want to make that child friendly as possible.
Right.
In the board game scenario, but I also really want to make a book. I've been wanting to make a book about crushing for a really long time.
Wow.
Just because I feel like it's so cutesy of an idea, it's so
Yeah.
childish of an idea, but we're not talking about what's actually happening when we experience those feelings.
Right.
And I would really like children like me to know, like, one, you're not crazy.
Right.
And two, there's a whole thing that's happening with you
Yeah.
that is kind of beyond you that
Yeah.
you're going to experience anyway. So I'd rather them have the language, the
Yeah,
knowledge, so that they can
exactly.
navigate it without ending up being a little crazy. Because I
Yeah,
was
it can
that a
make
few
you-
times in my life.
I mean, yeah. Well, love can make you do some crazy things.
really
yeah,
can.
I
It
mean,
really
you know,
can.
and it is. It's one of those emotions that's hard because, yeah, it can take you to high highs
Mm-hmm.
and to low lows. So, like, it can. And it is something hard, just like rejection, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Well, because it goes hand in hand.
Right.
You know, because unfortunately, you shoot your shot. Don't always work out. My friend was trying to put me, Piera was actually trying to put me out there. She said that she was going to rent out some of her homegirls, like, for Valentine's Day, I guess, or something like that. But she made it as a joke, and then some people really took her up on it. So then she was tagging a few of us on her story. I was like, girl, no, you didn't. You gonna put me out here though? Like I'm on sale? Oh my gosh. So I was like, girl, I had to call her. Like, excuse me, ma'am, what is this? But like, what's up? But it was hilarious. Some of her friends, yeah, they was looking though. They wanted to know ways, some assistance. But we all looking though. And then we are people that crave, you know what I'm saying? Like that companionship, that love. And I think it was really dope because I actually was in even church recently. They was talking about how like we are products of our desires. You know what I'm saying? Like what we want is the kind of life that we build things around. It's what we put effort into. So I'm like, yo, you got something there with that.
No, that's a word.
Yeah.
That's a word. And I think like we have been kind of persuaded to not choose our desires so much because we are operating in a society that's like, get this money, establish things financially, ignore those emotions. That part doesn't matter. Just make sure you got the money right. Make sure you got the house. Make sure you got the cars.
True.
And it's like throughout all of that, I just wanted a hug. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And we just don't highlight that enough. Like we're gonna desire things. We're gonna want things. And human connection is not only a desire, it's a requirement for a healthy and happy life.
Oh, come on now, requirement.
So yeah, I just don't think we pour into each other enough, and we don't know. Like I feel like anything that we or I can consider to be a problem in the way that we operate feels like a lack of information.
Correct.
We just are not. That's not what our focus was on. So that's not what we had lessons about. That's not what we talked about. That's not what we learned. But you gotta have people. Yeah. And you want people, even in the darkest and lowest of times when you are like, F everybody. Right. I don't want to talk to anybody. If somebody were to hug you in that moment,
you know what I'm saying? Come on,
everything would change.
Yeah, true.
We desire, we want, and Absolutely. We should have when we desire and we want. We should just know what to do with that have and that desire.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Speaking of word. That's a whole one right there. But true. And speaking of that, so I do think that you love to build, like education, like you're saying, and awareness and these things. And they need to be substantial, as you said, because it's in the name, literally. But that's also what, I also love. So, that's always something I said to myself as well. Like, what I do, I don't need to be surfacey and superficial. I'm not a fan of these shallow waters. No. So, I want to, and I think because of that, that's also been hard for me to navigate love because I'm just I want a lot from a partner. Yeah. So crushing I can do. Yeah, like you said, you know what I'm saying? I navigated that space.
In there, out of there.
Yeah, exactly. True story. That is true. That is true. But that commitment piece, you know what I'm saying? You got to be real worth it. And I haven't found that yet. So, you know what I'm saying? But I felt fulfillment in other ways with other projects that I've been a part of and all that. But I love substance. You know what I mean? Like that you embody that you literally are named that, all of that. And I think, that's also something I'm just curious of too. Like that was just something that you just always knew that you just wanted to embody and all of that, or how do we arrive?
I think I do have the how did you become substance story, but just in retrospect, in talking about my father, I remember this moment where I was listening to Soulja Boy. He was very much old school hip hop, head bop, lyrics. I was listening to what was hot because I was a child in middle school. Right. So I was listening to Soulja Boy. I played him some Soulja Boy. And Soulja Boy said, "Get up on my face, you doo-doo head dummy." I have never seen my father move this fast in my life. Cut it off now. So I think a part of me wanted to just make sure he knew that I was still staying true to the craft. Yeah. But when I was 13 years old, I was writing poems and starting to perform them regularly. And my creative writing teacher was like, "I think you might be a rapper. I really think you might be an MC. It's your rhyme scheme." Yeah. And I'm like, "I'm not a rapper. I'm a poet. That's enough." And he gave me the opportunity to make a song, get in the studio, record. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm a rapper for sure." And I needed a name for that track. And I was like, Substance. It really did come to me very easily because I felt like the style of rap that I was doing, even at that time, at 13 years old, I just had something that everybody else was not providing in rap. And it was
Let's go.
Substance. It was the purpose. I was intentional about these lyrics. I'm intentional about what I want you to feel in response to these lyrics. Yeah. I'm intentional about the process. Even the way I show up to the studio, everything is on purpose, with purpose. And I think that's always been me. Yeah. Somewhere inside myself, but I named myself Substance at 13.
Let's go.
Yeah. And it was just my rap name at first.
Right. There you go. But it's also just a way of life. You know what I'm saying? In general. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I just wanted to bring highlight to is that just that. I think we can definitely stand to have more of that. Mm-hmm. And I do think that some of us shy away from that.
Because it ain't easy.
Exactly. Because it's the easier thing not to. Mm-hmm. Right. And not to do that. But we gain so much more from that though. Too though.
That processing element of life, which is something that I'm still coming to grips with, is like that's where everything happens.
Yep.
And I think because we live in such a fast-paced way of doing things
Yep.
and living, we always want to skip the process.
Yep.
That's where the magic happens, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like my struggle with accepting the process is how I was able to, because now I just go by substance. Like that feels like who I am now.
Right.
Because as I process, I realize that everything is, happening with purpose. Everything
Right.
is happening on purpose. Everything is aligning when you allow yourself to go through the process.
Yes.
And at the end of the process, like everything looks so much better.
Yeah.
Flowers bloom after they go through all that dirt
Come
and
on.
watering and
Exactly, as they do.
dying sometimes.
Right.
Then there's a flower, a product, a fruit.
Right.
You can't skip that process.
But you can't though.
You
But you
can't.
can't. Exactly.
And you can spend your time running from it, which I did for years. It
Right.
don't work. You can't run from yourself.
You
You
know
cannot run from your purpose.
You can't.
You cannot run from the process.
Right.
Either you gonna go through it and accept it, or you gonna go through it and it's gonna tear you up the whole
Right.
time. But you
Literally.
gonna go through it.
Yeah, either way. So how you want to go through it?
You know, slow and
Exactly.
painful, or on purpose and straight to it.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. And I love that you said that because I do think that like pace to like the pace that we live our life with, like when I'm happier, I do feel like I'm able to move slower through I don't feel like I need to rush through
Yes.
everything. When I'm upset though, you're right. Like
Yep.
I'm just like, ooh, I just want to hurry up and get this over with.
Yep.
Or I need to hurry up and let this person feel it. Or like I need to get even or I need to whatever. But it's like, no, sometimes we do need to just also like relish in things, just enjoy things more. And
deserve
just have that. Yeah, exactly. And we deserve that to be able to do that. Right.
Deserve that.
So much more of that. So yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I am very curious.
Yeah.
What art forms have you tried creatively? You said you tried a lot creatively. Or, like,
Oh,
figuring out
sometimes. Oh,
your
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, there's definitely been a little bit of the so okay, and I love how you flipped it on me too. I was like, oh wait, I wasn't ready for a
I've been
question.
so curious this whole time.
Oh, let's do it. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so definitely. Okay, so art for art for sure. Acting has happened. And also I used to be really mad actually when I was younger because the memorization is there, but then they would give me a lot of narrator gigs, and I'm like, hello, I feel like I could shine. Yeah, exactly. Like put me on, y'all. I got personality. Like so, yeah. But I did do some of that. I actually did creative writing a long time ago. I did somewhat, but then but I learned a lot of like the speaking, like so speech writing from like also middle school. I did the civic oration contest.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I kind of learned a lot about that, and so like keeping things succinct and learning how to do it, but then also delivering it in a way where you can really captivate an audience, and that's so I've kind of lived in that for a while. Now I'm doing a lot more of the workshop group facilitation, like that's kind of where I'm at now. But no, just a little bit of those things. I mean, yeah, those are kind of been more of the where the art goes, and then I have actually also done some poems, but.
I believe that.
Yeah,
Wholeheartedly.
I have not, and I don't always share. I don't know why I'm always like,
Because it's vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's very much, I feel like even you can write a poem, a silly poem about an ant that crossed your path. And it's still a part of that. Just going through the poetic process is requiring you to take something out of yourself and show it to the world.
Yep.
I get it. I don't share everything.
Yeah, no, but thank you. Yeah, and some things should be protected.
You know?
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, there was like a few, but it's funny because I was at the open mic thinking, I was like, damn, girl, you got some poems too.
You felt moved?
Yeah, I did.
you read?
I did it. I know. I should have. But no, that's what happened. So what's funny is I came in and I thought it was a sign-in sheet for everybody.
Okay.
And it was to perform. And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was here to support Alana. You gonna put Alana on that list, but I don't know about me. But then as they were saying, I was like, girl, you had plenty. And I did even look at them, but then I ain't gonna lie, it went on though. Poem, they was taking it was such a
open mics do.
good. Yes. So I was like, but it told me enough that I was like, honestly, girl, you gotta get up there. Like you should. And so I did. I want to now. I do. So it will happen. It will. I'm just fine, what I'm saying, whatever
There's some open
place.
mics coming up.
Okay, well, no, but good to know. But honestly, I would love to. I really would.
Bet.
And yeah, once I did that, I was like, nah, you ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta keep sitting. And I would love to. So yes, I would. I would like to step in. So what's up, poem?
I will let you know because
Yeah.
if you do it, I'll do it.
Okay, then let's do it. Okay, cool. No, for real. It's also better to
love
do it
that.
together. Yeah, let's jump in.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to.
Yay.
But yes, I have loved poems as well. And I think that language piece, though, like, I love seeing, like you said, art in so many different ways in so many spaces. And even about babies, they be doing a little art thing too. But like, that language has always been my thing too, though.
It's
I'm just
something
like,
beautiful about it. I actually study English at Hiram too. That I have a minor in English, and when I first went into Hiram, English was my major, and it's because I just love to hear the way people write and talk.
Yeah.
I study dialectology too.
Okay.
Because it's
Ooh.
just something about language that is like so beautiful.
Right.
And the fact that even one word can be translated in so many different ways, so many different forms, said in so many different ways,
Right.
so many different forms. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I
it
just
is.
think words are so cool.
They are. Yes. And they do connect to culture in such a cool way.
Yes.
Yeah. So I do love that you said dialect. Yeah. Because I tried to explain that. I'm like, because even in the Latino spaces, there are all these, well, not just Latino. Like I said, culturally, period. I also love seeing historically how things have changed and how our
Yes.
language has evolved and even the words we're using. Because I ended up being on pull-up talking about like Latinx, Latina, Afro-Latina. We're
Yep.
talking about all these terms. And then like you said, even the term that you discovered on TikTok for crying out loud, you know what I'm saying? TikTok out here educating us. Come on, now, don't take it from us, but we'll see, even though it's been used for propaganda. But we use it.
We prevail.
Yeah, exactly. Man, it really, come on now. Thank God. But then it's like also like, we find ways to make sure we use it the right way. But agreed, language as a result can be very liberating. You know what I mean? And so like, and knowing that is very empowering when you also do know about that evolution and how it's used. So I agree. You know what I mean?
And it connects us.
Yes.
Even when it's not spoken language, because I feel like that is a big part of like how we communicate. Like we think about language in terms of speaking,
Right.
but everything that we do in the presence of another is communication.
Let's go.
And language is just you add a little extra sauce, a little extra drip to that
Yeah,
communication.
it does that.
And it can show up in so many different ways.
Yes, it
with
can.
so many different people.
Yes.
I love language.
Yes, agreed. Same. And so I'm glad we're using it. You know what I mean? Literally all the time. So yes, the only thing I would say lastly is just like, so if you got any advice, you know what I'm saying, for other people that that are courage the cowardly dog like me sometimes, and also like, or just stepping into their art, figuring themselves out, whatever, in any space they at. What would you?
I knew this was gonna be asked
Yeah.
because this is usually what people ask.
Yeah.
But truly, and I think I've said it throughout this conversation actually, make a choice.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through the process anyway. So
Yeah.
make it easy on yourself or make it hard if that's what you need. Cause it's a few times I needed it that way.
True.
But make a choice.
Yeah.
Don't spend all your time trying to figure out what's the best choice. Just make a choice.
Right.
Do it scared.
Yeah.
Do it scared.
Yep.
You're
right.
not gonna conquer anything by being scared
True.
and not doing. Do it scared.
That's true.
What else?
Definitely
Rejection is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Accept those no's and then keep, like, life has not stopped. I cannot tell you how many no's I have received just this year because I've been applying to jobs.
I feel you.
Just this year. I don't even want to talk about how many no's I got this year.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Yep.
I got a performance on the 22nd.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always going to be a yes. It's
Yep.
always going to be, and 2 yeses attached to that no. So
Right.
accept the rejection.
Yes.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Choose love.
Yes, please do. Please
Live
do.
in love.
Yes.
And it starts with yourself. The better and easier and more intentional you are about pouring love into yourself, no matter how that looks like for you,
Right.
the easier it will be to emanate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked hard to get like this. It
Yes,
wasn't always like
exactly.
this.
I believe it.
Love on you. You deserve it. I feel like I want to say more. Oh, drink your water.
Oh, amen. I need to do that, child.
Drink your
Where's
water.
that?
Stay hydrated.
right.
For
No,
real.
for real.
Stay that is, we are water, y'all.
Not true.
And we have to drink our water and
Right.
take deep breaths. Okay. 'Cause
No,
I can
that
go on
part.
forever.
Yes. And as far as like what's on the horizon for you too, it seems like you're just
Oh yeah, there's
Are you?
stuff. Can I do specific plugs or just in general?
Oh no, absolutely. You do whatever you want, Bookie.
Okay.
You got that mic.
Okay, this is the
Use
first
it.
time I actually had stuff coming up when
Oh,
somebody
let's
asked me what was
go.
coming
Okay,
up.
well then let's do. Yes,
I
please.
should have brought my calendar. Okay. So in general, crushing is something
Yes.
that's on the radar for me. It's just an pending process. Becoming.
Yeah.
Next step is an actual game board. That's
Let's
what I'm
go.
looking forward to doing.
Oh, love
so we can
that.
play the game.
Yes.
Crushing the EP is also on the way.
Let's
I'm getting back to that music, babe. And
Yes.
y'all will hear my heart. I'm nervous.
Right.
I have a show at Red Lion.
Okay.
On the 22nd with Chris Webb, actually.
Wow. Okay.
I'll
yay.
be-
He was amazing.
He was amazing. He'll be doing that same show,
Okay.
The End of Black Excellence. He'll be doing that at Red Lion on the 22nd.
Okay.
I'll be there too, doing whatever I end up doing.
Yes.
What else?
I love that.
I know there's other stuff coming. Poetry Unplugged has an
Oh, yeah,
open
yeah,
mic
yeah.
coming up on the
Let's go.
13th. I'm also hosting. Oh my gosh, I forgot all about this. I have a meeting about this after this too. I am co-hosting a speed dating event.
Oh,
And
snaps.
it is for it's a queer speed dating event. So like all types of relationships included, all types of sexuality included. I don't know how it's gonna look because they said they're changing the game on everything.
Oh, okay.
They're changing the speed dating game.
Oh,
that's with the
snap.
pleasure gap, which they don't play about their events. So,
Right. Oh, that's so dope. I love
yeah,
Pleasure
I'm doing
Game. I heard
that on
about
the
them.
13th.
Okay.
I'm co-hosting that on the 13th. The 14th, One Mic Open has an open mic.
Okay.
So if you got a little boo and y'all want to get into some poems,
Yeah.
you'll see me there. You might see
Wow.
Melissa too. So,
Right. Look out for it. Yes.
I'm so sure there's more stuff, but that's
Yeah, like some of the stuff.
what
Yeah.
came to my brain.
Yes.
I try to do a little bit of everything. I'm out here.
Right.
Yeah.
No, literally, I love that. Yes. Cool. And all of it with the, and combining the love too, because I speed dating. You know what I'm saying? We need love.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
Come have fun. They're a good time.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, good. So y'all heard. You know what I'm saying? There's things to plug into. Please do connect and do that, but also that. So if anybody wants to connect, you know what I'm saying? Look out for the details.
Only substantial.
Okay, there
If
we
you
go.
need to find me,
Yes.
only substantial. And it's spelled exactly how those words are spelled.
There we go.
Substantial is a tricky word. It can be a tricky word.
Exactly.
But if you type only sub,
You're going to get there. There you go. Yes.
you're going to get there. You're going to get there.
Exactly. We're going to find a way. So I love. So I'm so glad. So thank you.
Thank you.
So very much.
Thank you so much. You are
Yes.
so good at what you do.
Oh, no, thank you.
You are really great at what you do. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
having me.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I love it. No, because same. I feel like just such an amazing gift. So whenever you can like share that, I just love that. I am grateful that I even have a platform where we can do that. So I'm so glad. And so yeah, we're gonna have to be doing more together. Apparently,
Period.
hey, it's part of
Period.
it. Yeah, so let's do it. So y'all, I thank you as well for listening. Anytime y'all get to the end of an episode, so grateful. You know what I'm saying? You listening, tuning in, watching, whatever you're doing. But hey, you here and you found us. I'm so grateful for that. And so thank y'all. Tune in again, and we're gonna do it again another Feel Good Friday. You know what I'm saying? Bring you some more. Peace and love, Bookie.
Period.
Bye.